Hey listeners, before we get started on this episode, I just wanted to make a quick announcement. We're planning on starting a Patreon account in the next few weeks. We'll still be releasing our usual amount of content for free as always. This is just a way to allow us to do more cool stuff and offer more content. We have a lot of ideas already, but we're interested to know what sort of content you all would be interested in. So get in touch with us on the usual channels, Twitter, Facebook, email, and let us know what you'd like to see on Patreon, what we can offer that would be interesting to you. All right, here's the show.
Good evening, gentle folks, and welcome to the podcast that shivers your timbers, smashes all your dear fictions, and is tall, dark, and handsome, and likes to play with toys even Batman would be ashamed of. Oh yes. Welcome to the Smash Fiction Podcast, where I try to be as ridiculous as these magical meat flaps will take me.
Ugh. Oh no!
Still bad.
No. Oh yeah!
Oh, also, this podcast is where we take two or more fictional characters and pit them against each other in a battle of strength, or wits, or meat flaps. You take your pick. This week, the Dragon Age crew, consisting of Iron Bull, Varric, Morrigan, and Anders, versus the Baldur's Gate crew, consisting of Misk, Imoen, Edwin, and Vaconia. Once upon a time, in an inn far, far away, two groups of not-so-merry adventurers were sitting around drinking their sorrows away in ale. They were all there for different reasons. One of them sentenced to extreme community service for killing a bunch of people, a drow who changes gods like underwear, some dude just trying to prove how pansexual he really is, and a man just wanting adventure with his beloved hamster. In any case, and for whatever reason, these 8 adventurers, 4 from Dragon Age and 4 from Baldur's Gate, were out looking for a challenge. Suddenly, a man clad in nobleware threw open the doors of the inn, shouting, "Hear ye, hear ye! Baldur Conqueror King Indianus of the Jones, the first of his name, is calling all adventurers and cannon fodder to help him solve a true mystery. If you can solve this mystery, you will be rewarded handsomely. Please note, King Indianus of the Jones is not responsible for any death, damage, or general discussion that may be incurred in the course of this adventure. Any lollygaggers, moondollars, and triflers need not apply. This description does not necessarily reflect what your experience will be. All terms and conditions apply."
Damn!
One take! Go!
Yeah. Listeners, that was not edited. She literally said it that fast.
That wasn't me.
On the Dragon Age side of the table, Iron Bull, Varric, Morrigan, and Anders gathered up their belongings, and on the Baldur's Gate side, Misk, Imoen, Edwin, and Vaconia did the same. Together, they marched up to the king's castle and were greeted by the noble who delivered the announcement. "Ah, tidings, adventurers! I am Brianitum Clarkemium, the king's special advisor. Ah, here is the king now!" As King Indianus approached, muttering, "Traps. I hate traps." He began to address the adventurers, describing a maze so sinister, a dungeon so mysterious, that the only thing he could literally call it was a tomb of horrors. The king described all the unimaginable things inside the tomb, which is inhabited by a demi-lich named Asarirak. Please tell me that's how you fucking pronounce it.
Sand, give me the money.
Asarirak? Akarirak.
Asarirak.
Nope.
Ace.
Yes, ace. Perfect.
Asarirak. Asarirak?
Asarirak.
Asarirak.
Perfect.
That dude. Who littered the tomb with all kinds of traps. However, most of the traps are passive, and the entire tomb, in order to get through it, requires strategic thinking and the ability to find a cryptic poem to help find a way through it. There are illusions, downsides to straight-on attacks, the unfortunate consequence of becoming suddenly nude, Morrigan likes this, and caves to get stuck in where you better hope you can conjure food. Or be trapped with Morrigan. At the end of the tomb, if either team can even figure out how to get into the hidden room, is a pile of treasure capped with that dude's extremely corrupted skull.
I like Ace. Let's go with Ace.
With Ace's extremely corrupted skull. Ah! If the treasure...
Now I can't help but think Ace Rarak, Pet Detective.
Oh god.
Oh my
Don't
god.
let him near your pets. That's the mystery. How to get them away.
He's gonna steal all your pets' bones.
And their souls.
If the treasure is touched, a ghost of Ace is summoned, and if attacked, he will literally suck the life out of the adventurers. However, if the adventurers did their research on how to destroy a demi-glazed demi-lich, or take the treasure and scram, they may be able to get out without a scratch. So, what will each team of adventurers' strategies be? Will they get their reward and spit on King Indianus' silly legal disclaimer? I totally know, but for the purposes of this podcast, I don't totally know. So I, the spatialist of General Space, Liz Logan, will be your space judge. Space. Representing Dragon Age are Kit Mulcairn.
It's the Kit Mulcairn. I like having an article at the front. It makes it sound like I'm not even a person, just a mindless weapon, an implement of bullshit. That really works for me.
And Megan Bob.
Do all Grey Wardens have beards? Nope, just me. I stole all the beards and all the power stored within. There can only be one.
I was just gonna ask if you're Dante, and I was like, that's me. Representing Baldur's Gate will be Dan Mulcairn.
Let's talk more fight!
And Miles Schneiderman.
Go for the eyes, Dan! Go for the eyes! Ah!
Aw, Dan is my boo too.
Oh, we're so
Tonight,
lame.
he's my boo kid.
Can I watch?
In order to determine who goes first, the contestant groups had to play a game of Dungeons & Dragons inside a game of Dungeons & Dragons, inside the Dragon Age universe, which is inside the Mass Effect universe, which is now inside of Greyhawk, which is inside of Dungeons & Dragons, which is inside my bed, which is now a podcast. What? Yeah, I forgot where this was going to. Anyways, Dragon Age is going to be going first since they rolled their way into my hearts. Fly, fly away!
This match isn't really about who will win. It's a match about which of the Baldur's Gate characters will bite it first. Because the Dragon Age crew regularly go up against mindfuckery demons, undead and dead spawn, dark spawn, dead spawn, just a lot of spawn fucking everywhere, as well as magic users. In a dungeon that's all about subtlety, Minsk hasn't a hope. Boo, the miniature giant space hamster, will probably make it out, if she can resist going for the eyes. Minsk is a berserker, and that's fantastic going against a massive army. It's not going to work when everything is a trap and acting rashly gets you ghosted. Boo is no doubt a wise and sagacious hamster. But if Boo wasn't able to prevent Minsk berserk bonkerness from getting him welded into a cage, I don't think the insight she is bringing will be enough this time either. If they even make it as far as the Ghosted Skull. Minsk will rush towards it screaming, "Sword, meet evil!" It's not that Minsk isn't amazing. He absolutely is. But in a dungeon that only allows the cautious and thoughtful to make it through alive, well, R.I.P. Minsk. Boo will drink out of a tiny acorn in your name. Next to go will probably be Imoen. She's powerful, but also one of the most disliked characters by players. If the players can't stand her, she's gonna bring an already fractured party to madness. Despite being dual class and adept at traps and magic, she can't get out of a prison she's held in with Irenicus. Her level of thievery is described as just enough, but she usually needs some potions to help make her really useful. I guess your party is going to be running to the general store a lot to pick up some more Master Thievery potion, because obviously she's not going to be good enough to steal that shit. TV Tropes classes her as crouching moron, hidden badass. She might be able to get things done, but so can a chainsaw, and you don't usually perform delicate operations with one. Valiagar refers to her as, quote, a chipmunk with a sugar high and a death wish. The Tomb of Horrors rewards care and consideration. In what way will it be helpful to have a thief whose own cunning plans to rescue the lead character in Baldur's Gate gets him kidnapped? None ways. Viconia is difficult. I don't know how else to describe her. She's got some spellcasting chops, but in-game, her purpose is mostly to support tank characters like Minsk and stay safe herself. She also comes with an amount of magical and cultural baggage that could fill the Hogwarts Express. She's left her own culture behind. Her bro got turned into a weird spider thing for helping her. She's had to engage in survival sex for favors just to stay alive. Then was accused of murder when the dude abusing her died mid-sex. She's hunted for being a drow. In both games, she's captured by drow haters, is tortured and requires saving. She may be magically powerful, but apparently not enough to cut it in the world. It has been a hard knock life for this drow. Unfortunately, that shitty life experience and baby-killing cultural upbringings have made her into someone that will bluntly say that surfacers should be slaves. Charming. And yet, with all that experience, she still gets tricked by assholes and buried alive. Why is her cunning and magic not enough to save her from stupid, normal, obvious humans? If she can't put 2 and 2 together about that, she's not going to see any of the tricks and traps in the dungeon coming. Or see it coming when Edwin murders them all with a fireball in their sleep, as he mutters to himself that he will do. Oh, Edwin. I love a bad boy. Or girl. But Edwin has to carry an EpiPen in case he's exposed to teamwork. His agenda is always his own. He can't even be loyal to his own order of shady bastards. He's also ambitious, but a failure. He gets hold of an ancient and powerful nether scroll, nether, that he thinks is going to grant him some sweet powers. He studies that scroll carefully and declares himself ready to do some amazing magic, and bam, turns himself into a woman. As you may guess, that was not what he thought the spell was intended to do. Fixing that botch is its own fucking quest, by the way. And that's relatively low stakes. In a dungeon that's all about figuring out a puzzle correctly, the wrong answer is not going to earn anyone a shapeshift. It's going to kill everyone. On top of that, having him and Minsk in the same party is asking for a brawl. The Forgotten Realms wiki warns that if you have Edwin and Minsk in the same party, Edwin torments Minsk for failing to save Dynahair, leading Minsk to attack him. Edwin may be the last to die, but he certainly deserves to be the first.
The Tomb of Horrors is a Dungeons & Dragons module designed to reward players who enjoy puzzle solving and cooperative play, and to destroy players that run in wanting to smack everything with their new +5 mithril dildos. At its core, it's still a D&D game, and any adventuring party that dare enter better have all their bases covered and then some. Let's start with the Iron Bull, the hulking Kunari who was too clever to be a good warrior, according to his culture's very strict ways. Instead of being raised as a mindless killing machine, he was brought up as a quite cognizant killing machine, specifically as a member of the Ben Hasrath, the Kunari's special agent assassins and spies. There he learned how to read people and manipulate them, handy for dealing with that fake Acererak trap and actual Acererak that will be lying in wait, as well as how to destroy them in combat. In Kunari society, your purpose in life is decided by your elders who've observed you since birth, and then you are trained to be the best at that purpose for the sake of the society. He's got to be like in his 30s, right? Judging by his look. And he's basically been raised and lived his whole life as if he was some fantastical combination between The Rock and James Bond. And listen, no one pushes into the Tomb of Horrors without realizing that they are walking into what is essentially a magical, people-sized roach motel. The Iron Bull, however, knows how to uncover and gather information and knows people who know how to uncover and gather information. It's called a spy network. And, oh wait, we have access to 2 of those. That's right, swing that spotlight over to Varric, the charming dwarf rogue and A+ liar, or, as he would probably prefer you call him, storyteller. Yes, Varric Tethras also has a spy network, because if your family is a part of the Dwarven Merchants Guild, apparently your family name might as well be Corleone. Shit gets real. Horse heads wind up in beds, alright? But besides all this advanced knowledge, Varric is also more than capable of detecting and disabling traps, of which there are oh so many. In the Tomb of Horrors, the traps have traps. But better than disabling traps is avoiding as many of them as possible altogether, which can be done with the deciphering of the mosaic poem near the beginning of the tomb. Though not formally educated, Morrigan knows far more about how the world works than a non-mage ever could, and arguably more than any of the caged circle mages. Raised by Flemeth, perhaps the most powerful sorceress in Thedas, Morrigan's skill with spells is almost unrivaled, and her mind and manner of speaking is far sharper than anyone would expect if they knew she was raised in the Korkari wilds. Additionally, the tomb was designed for humanoid adventurers of specific height and weight ranges and standard constitutions. Pit traps become less effective when you can web and wall crawl as a spider, or take a beating like a bear. Those are her main shape-shifting forms in the gameplay, but Morrigan has mentioned her ability to transform into the forms of other woodland critters that BioWare just didn't want to program in. It's fine. You have a big game, BioWare, it's okay. And speaking of critters, I'm so glad Anders doesn't have Sir Pouncelot with him. That sweet little kitty cat doesn't deserve the punishment the tomb brings. Though it would just be so great if Sir Pouncelot teamed up with Minsk's hamster Boo to take the treasure while all the two-leggeds were busy dying. Oh, I'd play that fucking mini quest right there. I'd play that. But
mini quest, new BioWare game.
Yeah, no joke.
But adorable animal side games aside, Anders brings a level of power and knowledge that no one else in this match has. For you see, Anders is much more of a we than a me. Besides being a well-practiced mage skilled with resurrection magic, particularly the spell Life Ward, which automatically heals allies when they fall below 33% HP, Anders has access to the literal strength of the Spirit Justice, whom he is host to, as well as Justice's knowledge on matters of the spirit realm, handy when you're dealing with a demi-lich. In conclusion, the Tomb of Horrors, though a D&D module at heart, does reward a balanced team that helps each other. Edwin puts a lot of emphasis on knowledge, intuition, and reasoning skills. That's why these heroes of the Dragon Age, each competent in mind as well as class abilities, because even their big strong guys, smart as hell, are going to make it out with Acererak's prize.
Damn, that was great. Let's move on. Baldur's Gate, take it away. Woo!
Well said.
When Dante Alighieri wrote Inferno, he put his critics in hell. When Michelangelo painted the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, he included one of his critics at the gates of hell. So, when Gary Gygax ran into his own group of critics, his own players, convinced of their character's invincibility, Gygax decided to put them through his own special brand of hell. The result is the most infamously infuriating dungeon ever created, whose environment is so needlessly hostile that it makes the video game I Wanna Be the Guy look like Barbie Puppy Rescue. But what makes the Tomb of Horrors so hard anyway? There are a few tough enemies, bone golems in treasure chests, demons that hide in the astral and ethereal planes, and of course the big bad demi-lich Acererak at the end. But the monsters aren't what you need to be afraid of. The Tomb of Horrors is filled to the absolute brim with merciless, deadly, and nonsensical traps that make you second guess every instinct you have. Worse, many of these traps are invisible or covered in illusions, appearing as something harmless or even appealing. You can't take anything for granted in the Tomb of Horrors, and if you go in ready to fight your way to the treasure, you're going to die long before you find Acererak. That's a huge problem for the crew from Thedas. Unlike Baldur's Gate, a series known for its pathfinding and dungeon crawling, Dragon Age is primarily combat-centric. The Dragon Age characters can probably fight their way through most of the monsters they'll encounter, but they have no real way of dealing with the true threats in the tomb, the traps. By and large, the traps in the Dragon Age series are pretty tame and straightforward. There's a few snares designed to slow you down, and a few traps that will temporarily weaken you, but largely, the Dragon Age traps just deal damage. But the traps in Baldur's Gate? Man, are they nasty. There are plenty of traps that deal damage or immobilize you or curse you, but that's just the beginning. Baldur's Gate has confusion traps, which make you attack your friends or wander off into enemies or other traps. There are traps that petrify you permanently. There are prismatic spray traps, which can do anything from poisoning you to turning you to dust. There are spells that cast Power Word Kill or Wail of the Banshee, which can instantly wipe the entirety of a fully healed party. All of these are severely nasty, and believe me, the Tomb of Horrors has a lot more traps like those than the plain vanilla Dragon Age traps. The fact that the main dangers in the tomb come from traps and not enemies means that the Dragon Age party is going to be bringing a rock to a Swiss Army knife fight. First of all, there's a few things that Magic in Dragon Age categorically can't do. This is mentioned specifically in the game's codex. Teleportation is one thing. Bringing people back from the dead is another, because Anders can't actually resurrect people, just bring them back from the brink of death. D&D Magic is capable of doing both. Edwin has access to Dimension Door, while Viconia can cast Raise Dead and later Resurrection. Team Dragon Age is going to have real trouble navigating through strange dungeon geography, and will have to slog their way through every challenge, and if any of them are killed, that's it for them. This speaks to a much larger weakness that Team Dragon Age has to contend with. Magic in the Dragon Age series is laughably simple when compared to the D&D magic in Baldur's Gate. Both settings have their fireballs, and their lightning bolts, and their curing of wounds, but there's a ton of spells that Baldur's Gate has that Dragon Age doesn't. For example, Identify, which reveals the properties of a magical item, which is necessary if you want to avoid picking up a cursed weapon. Like that gem in the Tomb of Horrors that offers to grant you a wish, but it actually grants the opposite of whatever you wish for before exploding. Because it's one thing to add insult to injury, it's another thing to then follow up that insult with a flaming baseball bat to the nuts.
Gygax, you scamp.
The Baldur's Gate characters have access to the spell True Sight, which sees through illusions and invisibility, critical for avoiding the many deadly traps and enemies hiding behind magical concealment. Hell, there are entire sections of the tomb that are impossible to navigate if you can't see through illusions, which the Dragon Age characters can't. The Baldur's Gate characters can summon pit fiends, swarms of insects, invisible stalkers, and elementals, all of which are good in a fight, but are better for heading down hallways and triggering traps that would otherwise have hit our plucky protagonists. Their magic can stop time, find traps, eliminate locks, and make themselves immune to damage. And let's not forget the spell to end all spells, Wish, which actually grants wishes without the material component of the aforementioned flaming baseball bat. The Tomb of Horrors doesn't forgive the unprepared, and the Thedosians simply have no way of sufficiently preparing for this. Better jump into that big green devil mouth when you can, guys. At least then your annihilation will be quick.
Now that Dan has explained the superiority of Baldur's Gate magic, allow me to point out that all 4 Baldur's Gate characters have access to that magic. Yes, even the big dumb berserker with the miniature giant space hamster. This is easy to prove, because Baldur's Gate uses the same basic system as advanced Dungeons & Dragons. The Tomb of Horrors is a dungeon meant for characters of 10th to 14th level, but you're kind of an idiot if you go in on the low end of that. So I think it's safe to assume that each of the Baldur's Gate characters are rolling with somewhere between 1 million and 1,500,000 experience points, putting them in the 12 to 14 level range. Minsk, the bloodthirsty hamster companion with a heart of gold, is going to be on the low end of that spectrum, but a 12th level ranger has access to the first 3 tiers of priest spells, which means that our tank can cure light and medium wounds, cure disease, and slow poison, as well as use non-healing spells like summon insects, barkskin, and bless. I have just described the least magically adept character in our party. Additionally, Minsk is absurdly strong, able to escape a cage by bending its bars open, but also stealthy enough to use the Hide in Shadows ability to great effect. His only real weakness is his low wisdom score, which, I might point out, should disqualify him from being a ranger, according to the rules of Baldur's Gate. That's right, Minsk is so awesome that he defies the class ability score restrictions of Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. Maybe it's his berserker rage that made the developers too terrified to tell him he couldn't be a ranger. More likely, it's the influence of his faithful companion, Boo. Boo is a miniature giant space hamster, and no, that's not just me pandering to the judge by inserting the word space into a random phrase. That is actually how Boo is described by Minsk. And if you think Minsk is just crazy, you're right, but consider the fact that in Mass Effect 2, another game by BioWare, Shepard can buy a space hamster in a pet shop. And then tell me that Boo isn't canonically a hamster from space who communicates with Minsk via telepathy. When Minsk tells Boo to go for the eyes, the single most heroic character in the Baldur's Gate franchise does not hesitate. But let's get back to the magic, because I haven't even scratched the surface of the BG Crew's spellcasting ability. Viconia Devere, the sexy drow / badass cleric of Shar, has one of the fastest experience tracks when it comes to leveling up, so she'll be entering the Tomb of Horrors at least at level 13, probably at level 14. This means there isn't a pre-spell in the game she can't cast. In addition to all the healing magic, including resurrection spells, she can use magic to find traps, detect and dispel magic like a boss, which is a necessary skill in the tomb, cast defensive spells like Death Ward to literally protect her companions from death, summon animals and elementals, and of course, cast True Seeing, which is the closest thing the Tomb of Horrors has to a cheat code. Moreover, if things get real bad, she can rip the goddamn dungeon apart with an earthquake spell. Edwin Odoceron, though, is the real magical monster in this dungeon. Coming in at 13th level and possibly even 14th, he's going to be the guy calling up hordes of monsters to choke up the pit traps and soak up the poison, throw up walls of protection to defend against anything that makes it through his minions, and teleport the party around the tomb's most dangerous areas. Edwin is a conjurer, which means opening gateways and bringing through demons and shit to do his bidding is his specialty. And one of the schools of magic directly adjacent to conjuring is abjuration, which covers all the defensive spells with names like Globe of Invulnerability, spell deflection, spell immunity, and a magic clown car full of protection spells, including protection from acid, cold, fire, lightning, the elements, the other elements, energy, evil, more evil, normal weapons, normal missiles, magic missiles. Fine, I made that one up, but magic energy covers those, and that's a real one. And petrification. Do you see the way none of you bothered to cast protection from #Danlist? Edwin would have thought of that. Dude has the highest intelligence of anyone here. You think he doesn't plan for every contingency? You think he doesn't memorize the spell contingency?
Which is an actual spell.
Yes, it is. And before you get all AD&D literate on me and point out that Edwin can only memorize a certain number of spells per day, here's what really makes him the best. His amulet, which is a unique item, lets him memorize 2 extra spells per day per spell level. That's like 14 more spells he can cast every day, and that's assuming he hasn't gotten his hands on a Ring of Wizardry or one of the other 500 awesome magic items you can pick up over the course of the Baldur's Gate games to make all these characters even more formidable. Like, Viconia is a factory of buffs and heals who stands in the back and spellcasts until you give her gauntlets of ogre power and a pale green Ioun stone. Then she's a factory of buffs and heals who murders people with flame swords and spiritual hammers. And yet, no matter how formidable any of the 3 characters I've mentioned becomes, they all have one prevailing weakness. They have to live with the knowledge that no matter how many experience levels or major relics they acquire, they will still never be as good as Imoen. The first companion in the first Baldur's Gate is the best companion in all the Baldur's Gates. A power gamer's fucking wet dream. Wait, that sounds kind of wrong. A power gamer's wet fucking dream. No, that's worse. Honestly, she's a dream only in the sense that you roll her up and immediately start dreaming up ways you can use her to break the campaign, and she's wet only in the sense of all the blood she's going to spill along the way. Her starting stats are ridiculous. The kind of numbers that make DMs cringe and declare that from now on, character creation rules have to be made in front of everyone. She begins the game as the quintessential party thief, but by Baldur's Gate 2 at the latest, Imoen is a dual-class thief mage. One of the most popular strategies in the first game is to level Imoen up as a thief until she hits level 7, pumping as many points into the Find and Remove Traps ability as possible, and then turning her into a magic user. Because of the way the dual class system works, 1,000,000 experience points is enough for Imoen to be a 7th level thief and a 12th level mage. And with a few 100,000 more, she could be an 11th level thief and a 13th level mage for the same XP cost it takes, say, Viconia to be a 14th level cleric. That means that Imoen is entering the Tomb of Horrors with phenomenal thief skills, having likely maxed out Find and Remove Traps, and has the ability to cast high-level wizard spells. Edwin's specialization as a conjurer means he can't cast divination spells like True Sight or Identify, but Imoen sure as hell can, along with Detect Evil, Detect Magic, Detect Invisibility, and Detect Illusions, not to mention the other handy trap-avoiding spells like Knock. What's more, it's revealed in Baldur's Gate 2 that she's also a ball spawn, aka the offspring of the God of Murder. This increases her already insane ability scores, which can be further increased using the power draw upon Holy Might, and allows her to cure medium wounds as a special ability, which means we have 3 magical healers in the party out of 4. In other words, Imoen has thief skills, magical spells, and divine powers. Her final cutscene in Baldur's Gate 2 reveals that she eventually starts her own thieves guild and also becomes an archmage who hangs out with Elminster. She's basically what would happen if Gandalf had a baby with the Marvel Comics version of Loki. And that's without even mentioning how good she is with a bow in her hands or a backstab from the shadows. To paraphrase Caesar from those old Boondocks comic strips, Imoen serves up piping hot beatdowns 24/7 like IHOP, only without the syrup, cause ain't nothing sweet over here. Between the 4 of them, the Baldur's Gate characters cover every strategy necessary for defeating the Tomb of Horrors, and they wield too much magic in too great a variety for the Dragon Age crew to keep up. On the plus side, I can't wait to hear the individualized lines of dialogue each of you says when you die.
Aw, thanks.
That was some great opening arguments, but let's be honest, my favorite part, the rebuttals.
Of course.
Dragon Age.
I read them butts.
Turn around, you're first.
All right. I'm really glad you guys have so many healers, considering you're gonna fucking try to kill each other
Okay, so you guys
without your main character to fucking hold everyone back.
were talking about, that Edwin and Minsk have a tendency to fight, and what you have to remember is Edwin and Minsk
to murder, yeah.
Well, yeah, okay, sure. Well, when you're as competent as they are, fighting very easily turns into murder. But the thing is, they're party members in both Baldur's Gate games, and those games take place years apart, and they only end up coming to blows in the second game after they've been together for years. So this means it took years and years of constant travel together before they ended up fighting. Now, it's way more likely that Morrigan is going to peace out from this whole situation like she does at the end of the first game, or that Varric or Anders are going to take a deal from a demon the way they do in Dragon Age 2, which takes place in a much smaller space of time than the entirety of the Baldur's Gate series does.
Why would Morrigan peace out in this situation? In theory, she's going in here because she's invested. She wouldn't go in here if she wasn't invested in the first place.
I mean, you would have thought she was going in to fight all those Darkspawn because she was invested, but at the end of Dragon Age 1, she's like, like, you know what? I think I'm going to have some sex and then I'm going to turn into a wolf and run away.
Because she got what she wanted, yo. She got that archdemon baby.
Yeah, I mean, well, again, you would have thought she was invested in fighting the Darkspawn, but clearly she had other things in mind. How long is it going to be before we see what she really has in mind and she leaves?
Super invested in, like, seeing whatever King Indiana Jones wants.
Well, yeah, and maybe she wants a Sararex baby, right?
Indianus, you heathen!
Indianus, apologies. In what Space King Indianus is up to. She's going to be like, I gotta go check that
Space
shit out.
Ice King.
I gotta go find out. You brought up this lack of experience with puzzles and sort of dungeon systems, but the game has that in it. They have been exposed to it by living in that world. It is available to them, and it has been part of their world and their life. There's the harrowing, and then there's the test of faith. Both of those are puzzle-based. They've seen some shit, man.
That may be, but the fact of the matter is that while they may have experience with puzzles, they're lacking in the fundamental skills necessary to deal with the traps and the magic of the Tomb of Horrors, because they don't have high-level trap-finding, trap-disarming abilities, and they don't have a versatile, diverse set of magical spells to deal with what's going on here. Even if they have experience dealing with puzzles, I don't think that's quite the same thing as being able to spot the poison spike trap or knowing that that chest is going to have a shit ton of snakes in it before you open it.
They live in a world where there are demons that can disguise themselves as other people and take over their lives and kill the original. Like, they live in a world where that shit happens, and also where these fucking lust demons hang out and try to seduce them. I think they're going to be okay with weird magic-y that is from other dimensions and wants to either, like, suck their soul out through their dick/vagina or that wants to eat them and then, like, take their life over.
Which version of the Tomb of Horrors did you read where a Sararak sucks your life out through your dick?
In the
that's in the fifth ed. That's in the fifth ed version.
It was an illustrated. It was the Maxim guide to a Sararak's tomb.
They might live in a world where demons do that, but the question is, do they have the ability to preemptively identify those demons and then deal with them through non-combat means?
They ain't dead yet.
That wasn't my question.
When you sleep, you go into the Fade, and that's what dreams are. Now, for mages, they stay conscious during that. So they basically can travel to the Fade and scope out places while they sleep. So Anders can take a little trip, little stroll, be unaffected by the tomb's bullshit while he's, like, scoping ahead while everyone's resting up and getting some sleep.
Yeah, that would be great if it wasn't the Tomb of Horrors, because the very first thing that module tells you is that the planes around the tomb, the non-material planes, are full of freaking demons. Like, if you try to go astral or ethereal, you get yourself torn apart as soon as you step out of the material plane.
Good thing he's got a justice bro.
Okay, one more point I wanted to say is that one of the things that you guys really relied heavily on was how powerful everyone in your team was. What I am not hearing from you guys is how cautious and careful they will be. Only how motherfucking powerful and bringing the pain they will be.
That is what Gygax wanted to tear apart, is the people who think they're super fucking great.
You are power gaming your way through this tomb of intricate, careful, like spiderwebby dangers.
The Tomb of Horrors is designed to take characters who think they are invincible down a notch. We are not relying on our characters' ability to beat anything they encounter in a fight. That's not the kind of power we're talking about here. What our characters have is subtlety and the ability to use a very diverse set of skills to conquer the individual challenges of the Tomb of Horrors without resorting to door-bashy power gamer battlecry warrior types.
There is no dungeon in Dragon Age that even compares to what you meet in the Tomb of Horrors. On the other hand, in the Baldur's Gate games, there are several dungeons that are like that, the most noteworthy of which is the Watcher's Keep from Baldur's Gate 2, which is a multi-level nightmare of traps and stuff, including like golems that are made of magic, and so you can't even hurt them with spells. I can understand that you would look at the Baldur's Gate crew from like a bird's eye view and look at their personalities, and you could draw the conclusion that they're not particularly well suited to patience and going through dungeons intelligently, but like the evidence is in their favor that they do that all the time, and you see them do that in the games themselves.
Life is a fucking tomb of horrors and Thetis. That's all I gotta say.
I know. I was gonna say, I'm fucking surprised Edwin is still even alive somehow. I feel like that's just down to luck.
Or Minsk? I don't know. I still believe
I mean,
they're
we
gonna
saw
They all
resurrection
seem
magic,
like
so that's an option we have.
We have
That's
a character
it.
with
That's it.
Okay, we're done. Bye.
That's it. Baldur's Gate, your turn. You may say what you wish to say. Miles, go first.
Oh, okay.
You were like saying something, but I had
That's
to.
true.
I had to stop.
That's fine. The only thing I was going to say in terms of a lack of caution, in your opening arguments, you were portraying the Baldur's Gate crew as you just portrayed them during that past rebuttal as a kind of bashy force team. I just want to remind you that we have one character with intelligence 18, one character with intelligence 17, one character with intelligence 16, that same character having a wisdom of 18. So in terms of pure numerical statistics, we have an advantage when it comes to caution and planning.
What are the Dragon Age numbers? Oh wait, they're not exactly D&D like. Well, but maybe the very first Dragon Age.
Yeah, you guys don't even have an intelligence score. You have magic.
Well, I'm gonna make this point.
Yeah, so
don't-
you're setting this up as though it was like purely a D&D thing. Bringing in like, oh, my number is this doesn't really mean anything because in Dragon Age it's not the same.
Miles wasn't using that as a way to compare our characters. He was using it as a way of saying our characters are a lot smarter than you're giving us credit for.
My point is that the average human has a stat, in any given ability score, the average non-adventurer has a stat of 8. We are rolling with 16s, 17s, and 18s in the mental stats.
But they're being used for neutral evil and lawful evil purposes. I am not sure how that will meld. I don't even like to see 3 intelligent people in the same room. Frankly, we are a danger to ourselves.
Hands up if a member of your party has not ever blown up a church in order to start a civil war. Oh, look at that. The Baldur's Gate people are raising their hands. The Dragon Age people are not. I want to talk for a second about Viconia, because you guys were throwing a lot of shade about all of our characters.
I'm really
Viconia
sorry
in particular.
about her.
Well, listen, Viconia gets a lot of hate because she's a dark elf. That's not her fault. It's just the society she's in. At one point, she gets captured, tortured, and buried alive because she's a drow. And no one comes along to rescue her. She digs herself out of her own grave, tracks down, and kills those fools. Also, because she's a dark elf, that means she has a 65% resistance to magic, which means that all of the traps in here which are magical have a 2 out of 3 chance of just doing nothing as soon as they hit her. So, like, talk all the shit you want about her. She is way more useful than any character you guys have.
No, this is my problem, though, is that she is that fucking powerful. How did she get captured, beaten, and buried alive in the first fucking place? Like, was she drunk? What happened? This is what makes me go,
Kill Bill situation? Like, what kind of setup was this?
It was because it was her neighbor.
Was it her wedding day, too? She just fucking get jumped on her wedding day and then buried alive?
It was basically through numbers and trickery, and she didn't have any assistance. On the same note, I just want to point out, you talked about how Imoen starts Baldur's Gate 2 as a captive, and spends some time as a captive in that game. This is true because she was captured by John Irenicus, who is a 30th level wizard. That's all I'm going to say.
Your numbers don't mean anything to me.
Okay.
Like, they
allow me to explain. He's a man with a large pointy hat.
It is impossible to be a better wizard than that.
Like, more better than Corypheus is what he's saying.
Like Flemeth level? Like...
One of your characters is very particular about the weapons he likes to use. I'm talking, of course, about Varric, who refuses to use any weapon except for Bianca.
Wait, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
You would think so.
It's gonna be broke.
But what happens when he steps through one of those portals that teleports you naked to the front of the dungeon and teleports all your gear into the treasure room? He's just not gonna be able to do anything.
It's a good thing he knows a trap when he sees it, huh?
But he doesn't.
He got all the advanced intelligence from having 2 spy networks.
Varric does not disarm a single trap in Dragon Age 3.
He's not that kind of thief.
But we're not in fucking D&D, huh? If we had to translate it, he would be.
I'm just saying, man. Some of us put our points into find traps. Some of us put them into pick locks. Varric, unfortunately, is one of the latter.
I gotta ask an important Varric question.
Yes.
Okay, Kit. No, this is for Kit. Is Varric like flirty and sexy, right?
I mean, just because his natural charisma.
No.
I mean,
Okay.
that chest hair, though.
He's dwarfy.
But you know what?
Dwarfy.
Okay, just
He
because
doesn't even have a beard.
you're
He's
a
got a
dwarf
big butt,
racist
though,
judge.
so that's good.
Wait, honestly,
Okay.
out of all the dwarves ever, he's the best looking.
All
Yes.
right,
No
fine
beard.
Then we're calling it. Whenever he gets transported naked, he's gonna walk back in there, dick swinging, and make it fucking work.
Wow, okay, I think that's the end.
Yep.
I can't follow that, so sure.
That was a mic drop if I ever heard one.
Yeah.
Lightning! Ah!
Ah! Jesus! That actually got me.
It doesn't affect me. I had protection from lightning. Hold it.
Now it's time for bright sounds and loud lights. Ha ha, ha ha. It's the lightning-ish round.
Lightning-ish.
As our two teams cross the threshold of what they thought was Acererak's final resting place, hands on that sweet treasure, they're suddenly transported, portkey style, to an unfamiliar castle. Looking and listening, there seems to be a lot of gray decor and an unhealthy obsession with doorways resembling skulls' mouths? Oh, and randomly, there's some badass red leather coat in a corner. Huh. You fools! You thought you could escape, eh? Welcome to your new home for 3 months! I need money to renovate my tomb that you all trashed, so now you have to play my little game. Again! Which also happens to be a new reality TV show called Big Bro Fantasy Castle. The object of this game is to be the last one standing, and you must convince the other castle mates to vote anyone else out besides yourself. The strongest and most beautiful one who is left at the end, I will discuss your winnings with. Begin the game! So, I want the teams to give me a rundown of how you think this terrible reality TV show will go, and which one of your contestants you think will ultimately win. Who will be the drama king or queen and dig their own grave? What social strategies will you use? Your good looks, your strength, your wits, your ability to kill lots of monsters or, people? What will the alliances be up until the end? Who will you make turn against who, and how will you do it? What sick pranks will be played? What careers will you pretend to have to be noticed or unnoticed? And what places will you be hanging around in Castle Grayskull? Find out next time on Big Bro Fantasy Castle!
I'm so happy right now.
Wow.
I'm so sorry.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm so excited.
Did you see it? Did you see that league tie-in?
Yeah.
Yeah,
dope?
Yeah.
I got it.
Baldur's Gate, you will be going first. Who's in the hot seat?
Well, first of all, I want to start off with the argument that I know will at the very least convince Kit the most, and perhaps just like kill her morale for her side of things, which is that Imoen has a charisma score of 16, and that Viconia has a charisma score of 14. So, numbers.
Bring your
That's
math
disgusting.
And stuff.
This show has a lot of competitions, and so obviously the two most competitive characters are going to be butting heads most frequently, those being Minsk and Iron Bull. So they're going to be getting into a lot of competitive situations, and I think it's fair to argue that Iron Bull is smarter than Minsk, but there's one area in particular in which Minsk is much more accomplished than Iron Bull, and that's depth perception, because Minsk has both eyes. So I'm seeing a lot of beer pong is what it is, and so Iron Bull gets kicked out because he fails the competitions against Minsk. Imoen is, of course, a sprightly, impish figure who is tricky and pranksy and also very accomplished in setting traps, as we see in Baldur's Gate. And she's going to target her opposite number, Varric, by putting traps, say, around all the dwarven ale, or around Bianca, or around his underwear. And Varric is basically going to get pushed to the breaking point, not being used to other people playing tricks on him, and therefore will similarly be eliminated. Now, of course, we come down to the last two, and this is where they really shine, because I tell you what, when it comes to evil characters, Edwin and Viconia, they didn't come here to make friends. They're going to be able to outwit and outplay their much less evil opponents on the other side very handily. But of course, we all know where this is going to go. There can be only one winner at the very end of this, and that's going to go to the cleverest, the most charming, and the most photogenic of all the Baldur's Gate characters. Boo obviously will be the winner.
Oh, Boo and Sir Pouncelot will have their spin-off show. That obviously.
That's their prize at the end.
Now we just need that one Mabari from Dragon Age.
Yeah. Oh my god, how cute. 3 different types of mammals. How lovely.
I think Dan kind of nailed it. Like, I agree with the call of Boo winning the show. I think that's kind of obvious. Boo is certainly the most lovable character. I don't know where you guys got the information about everybody hating Imoen, but like, if that's true, then everybody fucking loves Boo. But if we had to pick between the 4, I thought about Minsk, I thought about Imoen, but honestly, I think the final winner is probably Viconia, just because she's like smoking hot, which really helps on reality TV.
Boy, does it.
Oh, yeah. She's a real drama queen for another thing.
Yeah, she's a real drama queen, and those people always last at least till the end, even if they don't make it all the way through. She's also got like a super tragic backstory. So there's a really great, like, I'm just imagining the video package playing, like, in the music playing over the video package.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
She's had to grapple with racism all her life.
I mean, not just fucking racism, and she has had some awful shit happen to her.
Yeah, I mean, she left her homeland seeking religious asylum because she was being persecuted, and then she only encountered racism.
Yeah, and the other thing about it, the thing that I think really pushes her over the edge, beyond all that, beyond, like, the photogenicness, beyond the narrative that you can tell in terms of the backstory, beyond all that is just the fact that Viconia, at the beginning, like when she starts out in Baldur's Gate, is just like kind of a terrible person. Like, she's mean to everyone, and all of the quotes that you look at from her are just like really standoffish, but she's actually concealing like a really good person underneath that. You can start a relationship with her in Baldur's Gate 2, and kind of the more time you spend with her, the more she softens up. And if you have her when you finish Baldur's Gate 2, it actually is revealed she changes her alignment. She turns good. So I think in addition to the backstory, in addition to the appearances and the sort of the trivial, superficial nature of the whole thing, this will be the story of Viconia kind of turning things around in terms of her personality. The one that everyone hated at the beginning, getting the fans on her side and just turning everything around and eventually winning the reality TV show. I think Viconia's got it in the bag.
All right. Very handy way of winning the season and being eaten ultimately. Very good.
I should preface this by saying I've never ever seen an episode of Big Brother.
Yep. Well, I think we BS'd our way through it better than everyone else BS'd their way through that one Clue lightning round.
All right, Dragon Age, take it away.
All right. Well, first of all, I still think Minsk and Edwin are going to kill each other, but whatever. This isn't even about being voted off. They're just going to die. I mean, they're evil, so they'll be good for ratings, but then, like, the producers can't really stop them from killing each other.
It's like, and earning immunity this week is Edwin. Edwin?
Oh.
Edwin, are you there?
I think that Varric and Viconia are probably going to like bond a little bit over their shared love of being.
Oh, Varric bonds with everyone.
He does, and also that they both, they come from underground places, so they probably are like going to hang out in the basement. She's eventually going to get her heart broken by Varric because, like, obviously his one true love is Bianca, and I don't think she's going to be able to deal with that. She will fly off the handle, and then everybody else is going to be like, oh man, we got to get her the fuck out of this house before we all die.
Her and Morgan are going to get the show so many ratings because they're both going to do the whole boss bitch thing at each other.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to go so far. I will admit, I can see Viconia and Morgan both getting very, very far, but I don't think they're going to win. I think it's going to be I Love New York situation where they both get their own spin-off series, but they don't win this one.
No, they don't. And also, so one night they're going to be fighting and then they're going to get super, super drunk and then they will kiss just one time and like the ratings are going to go through the fucking roof and then neither of them's going to remember it and they're going to be like, what? That never fucking happened. Why would you say that about me?
Oh, motherfucker, we are in Bob's wheelhouse right now.
All right. And then, so I think the other thing that's going to happen is that Iron Bull is just going to chill out most of the time. Like, he's going to spend a lot of time by the pool and then sometimes in the yoga studio just doing all of his inversions. So he's probably going to be doing like a lot of
yoga studio.
They're going to keep him around for ratings because he's probably going to try to fuck everything here.
Oh, absolutely.
Or his like charisma's going to get him fucked a lot. You know what? Him and Anders, maybe. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like Imoen is going to be voted off first because, yeah, she's too bubbly and not enough conflict. Let's go.
Well, she's going to call somebody a bufflehead like one too many times, and then the audience is going to demand that she be taken off the show.
I will say, I know he's my team, but Anders is probably going to piss people off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
he keeps talking politics on
turn
the
the
show.
house into a commune, and everyone will say, no. Just no, Anders.
I think Varric's the one who's going to make it to the very end because he is so smart and manipulative and charming and just, he's the rogue so nice they used him twice. He's going to make it to the end.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think Iron Bull's going to come really, really close. But I think, yeah, ultimately that Varric is going to be the one who triumphs. I don't think he's going to be doing it in any mean way, though. And I think that's going to be what wins him the hearts and minds of everybody watching the show. Is that it doesn't seem like he's an asshole. It just seems like he's kind of the guy that he is. Like whenever Minsk leaves, it's going to be super sad. And he doesn't want Minsk to go, but he's like, that's how you play the game, you know? That's how it is.
Hold on. Let me go pop some Dragon Age. I was gonna say Dragon Age sex movie.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
Link me, Liz.
I'm just
Link me.
No, I'm joking. I was Dragon Age video games, but then I was like, oh, sex movies. Because I'm stupid. I'll be back.
Oh, man. Researching this match has made me want to replay Dragon Age so bad.
You should.
I'm gonna fucking replay Dragon Age 2 and then play a proper fucking version of Dragon Age 3 because Dan and I played it on like an older console and the graphics are shit.
Yeah, it's pretty bad on the Xbox 360.
That's funny. It's exactly the opposite for me. It's made me want to go back and play Baldur's Gate again. Like, really badly.
I just want to play all of them. I will say, however, that what's in my head right now is the image of Iron Bull doing a handstand in a yoga room because I think that's kind of a one-way trip for him. Like, I imagine his horns would just end up digging into the ground and then that's it. He can't stand up after that, right? Am I missing something?
No, he's so flexible.
How powerful your inversion is. If your arms are strong enough, even if you were to get stuck, all you would have to do would be like to basically do a push-up, except that your legs wouldn't be on the ground, your legs would be in the air. So you would just do a push-up and it would push your horns back out.
I'm just imagining him walking around with like a section of the floor stuck to his horns for the rest of the show then.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm fine with.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, he would be like, I'll get to it when I get to it. He's Freddie Prinze Jr., for fuck's sake.
Absolutely he is.
Oh man, I can't believe that didn't come up earlier. Speaking of which, Dan, can I just say thank you so much for bringing up Viconia's magic resistance, because I can't believe I forgot to mention it.
I know, dude. You wrote like a novella of opening arguments, and you left out Viconia's magic resistance.
It's ridiculous that I forgot that. I can't believe I did it. I'm so sorry, but thank you.
Do you even smash fic, bro? Like, what's going on here?
Oh, I smash fic. I smash fic so hard.
Anyways, I'm back. Okay. Dan and Miles, oh my god, I love your game mechanic discussion, alright? I know Kit didn't like the numbers, I like the numbers.
Good.
I liked how you talked about the mechanics, that was brilliant. Dragon Age team, man, you really bashed the shit out of the Baldur's Gate people and talked about how you didn't think they would work together and stuff. And I can see that. Your team would definitely mesh better than their team. So where to go from there? I gotta go with Baldur's Gate.
Yes.
I think that a couple of the Baldur's Gate crew probably will fall from their own stupid mistakes.
Oh, dude, Minsk is going down right away.
Oh, totally.
But honestly, like, Imoen, detecting traps. Whew.
So thank you this week to Rafael Medina, Florian, Cosplay Fiend, and Vander Turner for reblogging the Morpheus versus Limubai episode. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir Brian Clark, for emailing this wonderful idea to us. I had a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoy the fantasy name I gave you.
The thinly veiled fantasy name.
You're in our continuity.
Oh yeah,
So-
that's a good point.
Brian emailed us the suggestion of using the Tomb of Horrors as the setting for a group of two adventurers going against each other. This was the combination that we ended up coming up with because we thought it would be the best fit. So hopefully you enjoyed the combo, Brian, and thanks again for the suggestion.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Smash Fiction. Next week, Belle and the Beast versus Aladdin and Jasmine.
I'll show you the world, all right. I'll show you these nuts.
Happy Valentine's Day, bitches!
Smash Fiction is produced by Miles Schneiderman, with logo design by Colin Mulcairn.
Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod for our theme song, which is called Hitman. You can find his work at www.incompetech.com.
You can follow the Smash Fiction podcast on Twitter at SmashFicPodcast and search for us on Facebook and Tumblr.
Subscribe on iTunes, and if you leave us a good review, we shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
If you have any suggestions, feedback, or other contributions, send them to us at smashfictionpodcast@gmail.com and help us continue the fight.
Now I have a whole new world in my head.
I know, same.
I can show you these nuts.
Oh, God, Dan, you fucking ruined it. Oh,
So
That's what I do.
It's
nuts
dead.
all over the place.
oh my fucking God.
Indescribable feelings.
I'll say.
I'm both like so happy and like so disgusted. It's kind of,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
a
know how to
little icky.
describe it.
A magic ball sack ride, a whole new world.
Don't you dare close your eyes.
Oh no, but I have to.
No, I can't. Get them out of my
New
eyes.
fantastic way to pump.
100,000 balls to grow.
Are someone's eyes being like teabagged? Is that what's happening?
I
Yes.
grow balls anywhere, there's balls to spare. Let me grope these two new balls with you.
With you.
Oh my God.
Miles, I thought you said I grow balls everywhere, and I'm like,
Yeah,
what
that's what I
kind of
heard.
sad X-Men is this?